Good morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scouser's Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser on a Friday morning where we are more reckless than normal. Hold on, what do we got? Oh, we got the Rugrats there again?
Yeah, we got the Nickelodeon cup. Oh, it's green, isn't it? Fuck. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. And Kazi's with us with his Nickelodeon mug. What's happening?
I'm good, my friend. Yes, I am good. It's Friday. It's Liverpool's back next week. I'm so happy to see my football club come back.
And it's going to be a lot of familiar faces nobody knew.
Yeah, and decide my whole mood again on every weekend for the next 7 months. Fantastic news.
We are kind of taking for granted that, they are, what you want to call it? It's been a really quick summer. I know because of the tournaments or what, but we're kind of taking for granted that these are like some peaceful, no worry weekends before we start the craziness.
Yeah.
Holy cow, dude. The 5 fish shows in 6 days. He's sweating THC, says Ryan. I don't expect anything else. And Sparky's in action right here. I mean, these are days where you kind of envy not being a Chelsea podcast where there's a guy to talk about every goddamn day.
Yeah. I love Chelsea, man. They're my favorite football club at the moment. I fucking love them.
I don't know, man. Like, it's almost like you look at Liverpool news. I mean, we used to just put up nothing but headlines for a while. And honestly, it's been so freaking quiet aside from, I mean, the Zubimendi thing came out. Everybody and their brother wrote nonstop about him. It's almost like the media was relieved. They were like, somebody to talk about. And then they wrote it nonstop for 2 days. And now that's withering down too. And nothing has happened. Frustrated yet?
Yes, very this morning. I am. It's more what the fact of what other clubs are doing than Liverpool, to be honest. The Zubimendi deal, I don't understand. I do as the terms of the player. I think he's perfect fit. I was really impressed with him in the Euros final when he came off the bench for Rodri, and I thought he was excellent there. Yeah. But this thing of like when players have release clauses and then Liverpool try and negotiate off a release clause just sounds a bit. We tried it last year with Dominic Szoboszlai, and in the end, he just went, the release clause expires at that date. If you don't pay it by then, you ain't getting him. And we just had to pay the money on the last day. And it was like, and you just let it go to the wire because you're trying to save a few million here and there.
I think it's more about not the total. I think it's how it's paid. Because I think when you pay that amount,
correct,
you pay the full thing. Whereas if you're like, how about I give you 20 now and then 20 on this date and stuff like that and put it into a nice little like payment plan.
That's most transfers across world football is always payment plans over 5 years,
But I think when you do the release clause, you have to submit the check to give the full amount at once. So I'm assuming that's what they're negotiating, or that's why they're negotiating. And I think that's why the frustration comes from watching like others do deals. And I think more than that, like the deals look pretty darn reasonable. It'd be one thing if they signed the guy for 140 and you could be like, he's not worth 140 and then move on. But they're like, man, that's not bad for like 40 or that's not bad for 60 and stuff. I think that's where my at least frustration comes from.
Same, and I'm at the stage of you. I think this summer, I think we start to see the market even itself out a little bit over the last 5 years. I think the PSR has actually started to even it out a little bit. So, for example, we'll get to the Neto deal, but Neto looks like £51 million, which for me seems extremely reasonable for the best player outside the top 6. And that's my opinion. He's the best player outside the top 6. I think 51 million is extremely reasonable. When you actually look around and you look at Solanke going for 53 million, I actually think that's a reasonable price for a guy, an English striker who can get you 20 goals. You can get you 20 goals and has proved that he can do it at the top level. I think that's, again, all the prices now are starting to look like, well, I can see that price. Like Dewsbury Hall going for 30 million to Chelsea.
None of them are like obnoxious.
That's what I'm saying. And that's where I suppose the frustration starting to build up for us Liverpool fans, because you're like, hey, this isn't like, oh my God, trying to get value for money. We think there's value for money across all the signings that are happening. We think like there's a lot of valuable for money out there for Liverpool. And I think that's where the frustration comes in. We feel like Anthony Gordon for 60 million feels like good value for money. I feel like that's for his age and his profile and what he did last season, the level he could get to. 60 million seems okay to me. It doesn't seem out the ordinary. Yeah. So hopefully Liverpool can get it together, man. But I am frustrated this morning, especially seeing the Neto deal. The Neto one's really hurt me. I'm not going to lie, it's really affected me because I'm just like, I'll tell you why, Tim. Liverpool have a decision to make on Mo Salah. We all know this. He has a year left on his deal. I don't think there's a better right-sided player you could sign than Pedro Neto if he's fully fit to replace.
See, that's the only thing with him that, like, we always have to say that at the very end, and I'm so sick of saying that about Liverpool players. That's the only reason I'm not taking it, because I mean, player-wise, I definitely agree, and it's a perfect fit and everything like that. I mean, he's good,
very good,
but just the fact that we have to say that after every time we finish a sentence about him is what kind of worries me. I guess I don't want one more player that I'm like, if he was fit or when he's fit and stuff like that.
Yeah, and listen, I can understand Liverpool's lack of urgency with that. Then I can understand that they're a bit nervous about that, and I understand that, by the way. But when you see 51 million, you're like, it's not a lot of money in today's day and age, especially for a club like Liverpool. It's not a lot of money to go. A lot of other clubs have £50 million players on the bench, or you know what I mean? Like that. That's just the way football is. Whether we like it or not, guys. By the way, that's just the way football is now. So it is something that it's like, fucking hell, Liverpool, you just take the chance and hope that your fitness team can work with them. He's apart, by the way. I think he was off, for like a year with a broken kneecap, which is just like a broken kneecap. It's like, you know, so that's, I think that was the major one. It was something broken. It wasn't like a pulled hamstring, you know what I mean? It wasn't like muscle-wise. It was just a broken bone, which is, again, it all feels like that. I always think, because I remember Kanate had issues before he signed for Liverpool anyway, and then, of course, he's continued his issues.
Yes.
But that was all muscles and stuff like that. And they were like, well, he's a young lad, he's growing, he's like 6'5", you're going to get muscle strains. And then, but when you see like broken legs and stuff like that, it's a bit more, well, that's unavoidable in a way. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Yeah, I agree with Ryan. I think it's such a good deal for Chelsea.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, 50 doesn't sound obnoxious. I don't know, like, so does this mean, I guess, lack of activity, does it mean that Mo is going to stay? And, you know, like the fact that we haven't made moves also doesn't mean that there are no major outgoings yet.
I don't think there's a major outgoing now. I thought it would have been done just after the tour. I thought...
How about, like, for example, all this Gordon talk? I mean, if it does happen this offseason, for example, then somebody would have to be gone, right?
No.
Really?
I think there's a part where Liverpool can just go, we'll wait it out and get the money that we want. A bit like we did with Coutinho, and we had all 4 or 5 of them, and they were just unbelievable for those 6 months until the January. Do you remember how good we were, by the way? Until that January, we were excellent and everyone was scoring goals.
Yeah.
We had loads of rotation. It was just a really big fun time. And then Liverpool got the price they wanted and then sold. I think there's an argument you can keep them all and then wait.
That's what I mean. I mean, we're hoping Gordo's breaking the news, but Gordo breaking the news is just like Sir Z breaking the news. Nick is really getting this Turkish thing down, by the way. So good evening out there to you, sir.
I thought that was like a meal or something. I was getting hungry there.
Sounds delicious, whatever it is. No, it's just good evening in Turkish. We kind of I think so too. I mean, there will be a couple of guys coming in, but in some ways, we identified the guys we want. I mean, here's the thing, we look at, these are all good players. So if I throw you any good player's name, you're always going to be like, oh, yeah, we can use him. I mean, you can use him, right? Like a good player, who can't use a good player? But, that's why Chelsea has 50 guys in the squad, because they're like, yeah, we can use them. Yeah, but you can't use all of them, and you can't use all of them on a regular basis. So do we just wait in the parking lot as people are going into practice on Chelsea? Or like, did you hear what they sang? And they're like in the corner over there, and then lure some people this way. There's so many players over there who will never get playing time.
There's an argument there for Liverpool, and I think other clubs. The rumour is that Arsenal are interested in Mudryk on loan. If you get Mudryk on loan for a year, that's not bad business. A pretty good business.
Didn't they initially want to sign him? Do I remember right? Okay.
Yeah. And then I actually looked for this Neto deal, at least I actually look and go, what's Cole Palmer thinking? You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like everybody in there, what's Sterling thinking? What's freaking like Jackson thinking? You overload all these guys. Look at their midfield. Who's going to play in that midfield? And somebody has to go. They're way past the the 2 locker rooms, aren't they? Do they need a third room now or what?
No, man. I feel like, listen, they're gonna do. I think there's gonna be a lot of outgoing to Chelsea in the next couple of weeks. I don't think it's gonna be as many what people think, but I think you'll see 5 or 6. You forget that they still got Lukaku and stuff that have come back from loan, and like I'm sure he hasn't even got a squad number. But there's a few there. Maybe when I look, and I say Palmer especially. The Lavia one's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I know it was a different regime, and I know with Michael Edwards and Hudson. If you're still interested in Lavia, could you bid 15, 20 million and go, we'll do you a favour? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like there's things there at Chelsea where, like, are you still interested in Levi Colwill? Are you still interested? And
because all these guys, I mean, some of these guys have to be available, right, for the right price.
Well,
By the way, let me plug this real quick. Asking about the 24-hour live podcast is happening tomorrow. So please do spread the word. We are still looking for hourly sponsors. $100 to $250 to sponsor an hour. Come on air, chat with us for a little bit. Make sure we're awake and all that kind of good stuff. 24 hours straight from noon tomorrow all the way till noon on Sunday. I will be live. Gally will be live. Victor will be live. How alive? I don't know, but we will be live on air for 24 hours straight. So make it worthwhile that I have to put up with these two for 24 hours straight. And they're probably saying the same thing on the other side. Put up with these people. So 24 hours freaking straight. So make it worth our while. Sponsor an hour. Shout out to Chima. I got a message from him this morning, for example. So it doesn't have to be a company. It doesn't have to be a supporters club to sponsor it. You can do it as a personal to see it as you're donating $100 to the cause or $250 to the cause, whatever you want to afford as a sponsor. So please pass the words. If you can sponsor it, that's awesome. If you're listening to us right now, if you cannot, please spread the words so that we do get the sponsors and all the hours filled. We're a little over halfway filled right now, and we got 24 hours, a little bit over 24 hours to go before we go 24 hours freaking straight. How many beers in 24 hours, says Boz? I will have to impose like an alcohol limits or something like that, because if these boys start drinking at like 6, 7, shit could get ugly by 2, and it's not like I can kick him off air. So it will be really difficult times if people get drunk on air. So
fucking 2 a.m. and 3 years are passed out in the chair.
You tune in nothing but Z's. But no, I think, I mean, not to mention the cause we're supporting over here. We'll try to keep it as professional as possible within our regular levels of professionalism, but still. But yeah, it should be interesting. Caffeine stashes are ready, Archie. I mean, there's not enough caffeine in the world for this, but it's gonna fly by. I'm telling you, like at the end, people are gonna be like, let's do another hour, let's do another couple of hours. It's gonna fly by. I don't sleep a whole lot, but then again, I don't talk 24 hours straight either. That's another deal. But okay, so going back to the Chelsea thing. Gala says they claim Lavia is going. I mean, that means is Caicedo still there? Is Enzo still there? There has to be people out there saying, hey, I want out, because I'm definitely not getting minutes.
Dewsbury Hall, Chukwuemeka, what's his name? Cassidy. Is it Cassidy or something like that? He played a few games last season for them. Vega. They've got so they've got like many options in there.
Another 3 that they will sign probably this week.
Yeah. But I don't think Lavia's going to start for them, if I'm honest. But there's a pass if you're Liverpool and you want Levi Colwill still, and they're trying to do that homegrown thing by balancing the books, that you can just go and sign Levi Colwill and give them a clean 50 million brief and just take Levi Colwill. But again, Liverpool might have to find out if he ever got in trouble in school before we sign anyone, because Liverpool. I know
you mentioned that in like Discord too.
It's annoying. It's annoying.
It is annoying, but at the same time, isn't it better?
Is it?
Is it not?
No,
I think it is. I mean, look at the squad that we have. Like, don't you want people of that character, caliber, whatever? Or, I mean, here's another thing, right? When we do keep saying that, but it's a lot easier to keep good character and all that kind of stuff when things are going well. I think, the character of players and, the bickerings and stuff come out when things are not going well. And we had Klopp maybe to keep certain things a lot more quiet and under control. So we're going to see how Slot handles issues like that. But I'm okay with them doing their due diligence because they're never going to do what Chelsea's doing.
And
so we know that. We don't want them to do what United is doing, right? Like get and then spend a ton of money bringing people like Anthony and stuff like that.
I get that.
So I am okay with it. I guess, like I say, the only thing that irks me, I mean, we started the season saying the same thing. I mean, you as well. You know, we're trusting Edwards, giving the benefit of the doubt and stuff like that. The only thing that keeps affecting that trust, I feel like, is seeing all these other deals, like we said earlier, that look reasonable to us and saying, how come we're not in it? But maybe they're looking at that and say, yeah, we could use him, but we don't need him. So we're not going to go after him.
For me, it's what's affecting the trust right now. We'll get to the incomes as the outgoings. I thought there'd be like an influx of outgoings as soon as we got off that fucking plane from America.
We even talked about it last Friday. I was joking about people like being thrown off the plane with a parachute.
I checked my phone this morning. Liverpool put a thing on social media asking the players about like who would be the winner for 100 meters in a sprint and who would be of Olympic Games, who would do this in the squad. Nat Phillips is on it. I was like, what the fuck? Like he's still in the new kit,
putting his head in the questionnaire.
He just wasted 60 quid on getting the shirt printed out for him. Why? Anyway, but that's again, and I love Nat as well for what he did for us and stuff like that. But he's not a part of the plans. Do you know what I mean? So I just feel like, lad, that it's. I thought there'd be an outgoing. I thought there'd be an influx of outgoings. I also thought when a club have a fucking and a fee fella and they have something set in place, especially a club like Sociedad, by the way, you only play like Basque players and stuff like that, that kind of region kind of deal. And they're selling Mike Merino for 15 million already. It's like to Arsenal, by the way. It's they have a price for him. They know his worth. You've done your due diligence because you know him. That's the price. You pay it or you don't. We act like Liverpool always on the charity. Why are Liverpool always on the charity run? I know Liverpool trying to get best value for money, but I don't think the price is an extraordinary, awful price. By the way, this lad could sort you out for 6 years in centre midfield. If you know what I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not like you're signing a 32-year-old Tim for 60 million. This lad, he just does it. That was my argument today in the chat in our Discord of like, is it time just to say, you know what, we're doing Gordon and Neto for 110. You fucking sell it off this summer for 100 million. You're doing Diaz for 140 and go, these two lads are on our wings for 10 years. There is a chat to have about that, I think. I think there's definitely a conversation to have if you're the football club, but I don't think our football club would ever have it. I think the 2K one, I do think that sometimes we kick a Premier League football next week. You ever saw the player? And you know what I mean? Like, literally season starts next weekend away at him. Tell you right now, mate, and there's the pressure, and this is why I kind of feel sorry for Slot a little bit. If Liverpool drop points against Ipswich, you'll fucking see a turn then. Do you know what I mean? The fans will start going in, like, you're waiting too long, and we'll be having different conversations on this chat. My final thoughts on this, I still trust Edwards. I still believe that we'll get some deals done. I still think like that. But you are, and I've said this on previous podcasts, the first 6 are favourable for Liverpool. But if you still got points, they're still good teams.
Yeah.
Like, still got points. And the pressure you could put on yourself by waiting so long, if Liverpool go out and draw against Ipswich, say beat Brentford and then lose to United away, by the way, which is definitely possible to go to Old Trafford and lose a football match. It's possible. And Liverpool pick up 4 points out of 9. You'll fucking see some anger then. Do you know what I mean? And you'll see the fan base turn. I don't know about you, Tim. I fancy winning the league. I think it'd be sound. I think I'd have a lovely time Liverpool doing it. And when your team finishes third, you should. And by the way, only like 7 points off the top. You could expect them to close the gap and try and go again. And I want to see Liverpool do that, even if it's under the new manager or not.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, maybe our trust is very misguided too. Like, I guess we're gonna find out, right? Because if this regime was the old regime, we would probably be complaining 10 times more right now. We just have this silent faith in, Edwards and Hughes and stuff like that. I mean, if it was, what was the dude's name? The Klopp's buddy? Schmack. Yeah, I mean, if it was like him or something like that, I think we're definitely complaining now, right? Yep. You're like, he can't get any deals done. He couldn't move anybody. We're going to get stuck with these people. We're not going to get their value. But I mean, we would definitely complain 10 times more. There's this like silent trust that we have. Hopefully it's not like misguided. Brian says, I worry about us not being a complete squad. I mean, here's the thing. And that's what I worry about. I agree that the fixture is kind of favorable, but I'm worried that we're overconfident in. I mean, we're used to this team losing points in favorable matchups and then having to beat Spurs away, Chelsea home, these guys away, and stuff like that because we need the 3 points afterwards. So I don't want to drop points early in the season where you should be getting 3 points on paper at least, and then regret it afterwards, saying if you got that move in, man, 2-3 weeks ago, if this team was ready to go 2-3 weeks ago. But at the same time, will 1 or 2 signings really make that huge of a difference in terms of how we start the season, you think? Like Zubimendi or no Zubimendi would make a big difference when we start the season.
I think it makes a big difference in terms of the mentality of the football club, in terms of the fan base. I do think. By the way, I do think players want signings. I do think players go, I'd love to look for a new lad in here. Do you know what I mean? I do think that's how they think. I just feel like Tim.
You think so? Like who? Like Van Dijk, maybe? I mean, I don't think Jones is I can use another midfielder.
No. If you're Van Dijk or you're Salah or you're Trent,
you're
trying to negotiate a new contract. The first thing you sit down is go, well, what's the plan here then? Are we having a rebuild? Because I'm not. If Salah might go on 31, 32, I can't be asked with a rebuild. Van Dijk would be the same and go, I want to win now. Are we winning now or not? Yeah, we're winning now, but you're not signing anyone to win now. We weren't good enough last year, so why are we good enough this year? Do you know what I mean? So that's, if I'm Trent, I'm thinking exactly the same, by the way, at his age. Go and show me that you want to win now. Go and sign these 2-3 players. So I do think it does affect the squad. I do think when a player gets a new player come in and they start fucking pinging the ball out in centre midfield in the area, and you go, well, can he be good for us? He's going to be great for us. And that gives you a boost. And I also think it gives the fans a boost, the mentality of the fans. I think it'll calm a lot of the fans down. If Liverpool do Zubimendi today, by the way, I still expect them to be done by the weekend, in my opinion. I still think it gets done. I hope
so, man. I was hoping to talk about that.
I'm sure you was.
I reserved 6 hours just for Zubimendi.
I'm sure you was, lad. But I mean, so I do think these kind of things will happen, Tim. I just, again, if you're trying to negotiate contracts with these players and new deals, I want to know where the football club's going. I want to know what the plan is. And if you're not signing footballers and you're going, well, we're going to wait, we're going to see what happens, and you're like, and then Van Dijk might be going, I can't be asked with Endo in front of me for 38 games. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think we will. I mean, like I said, I've been saying this ever since I first saw the first slot game and then looked into more Feyenoord games from last year that I don't think he fits. I don't think we see him start the season at the 6, for example.
Who starts
signings before kickoff next week? We drop more than 3 points in the first 4, and the trust of Edwards takes the hits. More than 3, yes, I think so too.
Who do you think is going to start the 6? Like the Jones and Szoboszlai?
I think Mac is there with Jones, and then Szoboszlai or Elliott is the third one.
So we got Jones, who we know loves an injury issue, and then McAllister, who's not really the most comfortable. He might be better than double pivot, but when he was on his own last year, he did the role.
Yeah, I think it fits the double pivot. The more I watch the games, you see where the 6th ends up, you see where the 8th ends up at times, and it's you couldn't tell if you didn't know the players. If you were just watching another team that you were not familiar with the players and they went college style, no names on the back, you wouldn't know who's 6, who's 8, because it's very fluid. They keep kind of changing, especially during build-up. So I feel like Mecca would work. Gravenberg is a good shot, but I think it's just too early. This is why we kept saying he should have freaking come in earlier, because I think that would be a good shout if he was smart enough to come in a couple of weeks earlier. But I don't see that happening now. I think we start the season safe. And I think this is where it comes to, signing a new player or two make a huge difference. I don't think it will make a huge difference against Ipswich.
No.
It's more about being able to stay consistent and, being able to rotate and stuff like that as we go, to be able to kind of keep the same momentum and stuff. So when somebody's injured or somebody's gets carded or whatever, you still have somebody in there.
Yes, and I feel like it's a bit more. The one thing that the Zubimendi deals has kind of told me here is that Liverpool see Trent as a right back, because you're signing a centre midfielder to go with Maka and the other lads, which of course makes you
preach.
Right, so that's where they see him. I think he just does Jones and McAllister probably, and maybe push Szoboszlai further forward. But again, you're getting to the stage, as we just said. If you do a new player now, say Liverpool's on Zubimendi this weekend, I don't expect them to start against Ipswich. But fucking hell, Brentford at home's not a bad start.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a bad game to ease the kid in, ease the lad in to the game. You're Brentford at home, you're going to get 75% of the ball. You can have a load of touches, and you can look lovely on the ball. Then we all idolise you for 45 minutes against Brentford, and we look wonderful. So I do think there's a part of that, mate. The last thing he wants is his first game or his first couple of minutes is to be against United away, or you know what I mean. It just feels to me like that. There's a part where you become too careful and you're trying to be too precise. I've said this before to you. There's only so many times you can be the smartest man in the room.
Yeah.
Like, eventually you just have to pay the price.
Do you think this is about being the smartest guy in the room, though? Or is it more about, we only want what we want, and if it's not going to work out, we're happy with where we are?
But we were told we don't know what we want because the man hasn't seen the place. So he's got to wait for the place.
He loves everything. He doesn't want anything else.
Oh, no.
He has everything he wants right here.
Paul Dillon said to the club, we don't need any dough. You keep all the dough for yourself because we don't need anything. Can I come in the league with these lads? I don't think that's correct. I think he's walked in, he's had a look, and this thing of we know what we want, and we know, and that's fine to be that way. But I think Liverpool have still too much to do to feel like we know what we want. Liverpool need to make. That's why again the outgoings will give us more of an idea of what they want. For example, with Carvalho, if you get off the plane from America and Carvalho goes, you go, okay, you don't want him. Like,
yeah,
do you know what I mean? And a few other players, by the way, like that Train only goes out on loan, and these other kind of kids. And you kind of look and go, well, at least now we know what we want. You know what they want, kind of deal. By the way, I can't be Liverpool haven't tried to sell Luis Diaz to Chelsea. But that's just me.
Hey, since you guys are looking for another winger, here's another one for 80, 90 million.
So we can go and fucking sign Gordon. But yeah, I've had enough, and it's getting to the stage maybe where I'm getting frustrated with this now. I really am. I want the man. By the way, the manager's got about 4 weeks where he's playing a game once a week, and then he's into the season. Like, he can't train these lads. He's got 4 weeks where you can play a game one. I think the first 4 weeks, it's one game a week. And then the Champions League and the League Cup kicking and all that kind of stuff.
But I think if you bring in people now, I still would not consider it too late.
No, now, yes. I agree with that. But I mean, if it's 2 weeks down the line and his first game's United away and Liverpool get beaten, you go, well, if you would have brought him in 2 weeks ago and he's ready to go, and that's what happens in football, because that's how football fans think.
Yeah, I mean, because I think if you get him in now, you bet him in by the time you're saying, the games are coming fast and furious and stuff like that, and you are getting a guy, I think, who it's like a puzzle piece. The exact shape you want to put in there. So the guys you're going after right now are that exact freaking shape. Like, you can just plug him in there and it's gonna work, ideally, and you're not getting a project guy or anything like that. So I don't consider it too late. This I consider a little too late. Anand showing up. You're lucky you're working on sponsor deals and getting some sponsors across the board over here for the 24-hour podcast. So for this, you better be coming up with bringing in another couple of sponsor names this morning for us.
It was nice seeing you guys.
How frustrated are you, man? Chelsea signed another 18 guys this morning. I don't know if you heard the news.
Yeah, I just woke up. I literally just woke up. I've been up all night, and I just woke up now, and apparently Chelsea signed 18 guys, so that's good. Yep. Hopefully we'll sign one.
Are the frustration levels up, same as last week? Because, I mean, it feels like we're having the weekly Friday are we frustrated yet conversation. Oh, we got one. We got news updates.
It looks like the deal's getting done with Bajcetic going on loan the other way.
To Sociedad?
On loan. On loan. The other way. I said on loan, fella, not sold. On loan's a great bit of business for Liverpool.
I know. Anand has this thing where, like, he looks at Bajcetic and he sees Thiago, so it's kind of like a weird fantasy of some sort going there. But...
No, listen, if it's on loan and it's that one season, let him benefit, because he's going to have the starting position there if we're getting their number 6. So, okay.
I think that's going to be a great bit of business for Liverpool, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
So what is the tweet what is it? What is the...
Reliable things have said this player's going the other way. Zubimendi wants Liverpool, basically. But it looks like the argument is Bajcetic goes the other way. For the on loan, only on loan.
Otis says, I love to roll out of bed and look that good. Well, he didn't just roll out of bed and look this good. That's why he's late, because
I literally a lot of makeup. Didn't even roll out of bed. I got off the couch.
We're not going to ask for details on that one. We're not gonna ask the whys behind that, but Toastans. I mean, yeah, I mean, I like that Kazi. I mean, him going the other way, because let's face it, if this guy comes in, I think Endo's staying. Like, since we didn't take the offer, we want him to stay for one reason or another. I still think he does the work, coming in late in games and stuff like that, gives you more defensive stability and another guy to put in. He does the Milner role, what Milner did as 6. Like, come in, put a couple of hard tackles, get a yellow cards, and move on. So this gets Bajcetic a lot of playing time. And I guess Kazi, we get to see if he's fit, because I think that's the biggest concern with him, right? Is he fit? We know the player. We just don't know if he can pull out a season.
We know the player when he was 17.
Yeah.
Playing at 19. I have no idea. Like, you know what I mean? The lad came in when Liverpool were absolutely appalling one season. He looked great for 5 months because he was the only midfielder who could run about a bit. And it was like, oh, yeah, he looks really good.
I mean, he was the midfielder who had a pulse and legs at the time.
Yeah. And he basically rejuvenated Fabinho for 6 months before we sold him. So, yes, and I like Bajcetic a lot. I think we all do. I think we're all fans of Bajcetic, and we wouldn't want to see him leave on permanent. But I think going back to your home in Spain for a year, having a lovely time at Sociedad, and let's get this right. I say this about Liverpool all the time. Then, you know, Barcelona could come in with a £50 million bid for him, and that's football. And that's how football works. I think it probably counts as a homegrown in terms of PSR. I think it probably counts because he's been there since he was younger. So we'll see what happens. I think it's a great move for him if he goes to Sociedad. The problem is with Sociedad, they don't play attacking style of football. They are quite defensive. They don't score a lot of goals. I think their record goal scorer only had 9 goals last year because Kubo got 7, I think. So they don't play that kind of attacking football. But what they will do is teach him about structure and formation and staying in position. Because let's get it right, when he was at Liverpool for those 5 months, that big 5 months that he had free reign, didn't he? Like, you know what I mean? He was having a lovely time. Like, remember he scored that goal against Aston Villa when he's playing up front? And you're like, he just has a lovely time. So it'll be interesting for him. I'm excited for him to go there if that's the case. But it looks like Romano said he didn't mention Bajcetic, but Liverpool are basically in the offices right now, kind of thing, working on the deal. So
hold on, now I'm going to have to pull.
Could be good for him. I mean, to get a season where he's starting regular minutes after a season of basically playing only like 10 minutes due to injury, I think it could be good for him. The bit of news that I got now, and I'm sure you guys probably talked about this, Giorgio Mamardashvili, the goalie, the keeper from Valencia, the Georgian.
Yeah.
Fabrizio just tweeted that Giorgio he's pretty much made it clear to his club that he wants to go to Liverpool. So it seems like this is actually happening.
What is his club right now? I mean, he's not playing in Georgia.
He's Valencia.
Oh, that's right.
He's actually a very, very, very good.
Wasn't he the La Liga goalie of the season or something like that last year? Pretty sure he was. I'm pretty sure. Like I heard that when Turkey was playing them.
Yeah, when he was in the Euros, he stood out a lot. He's not the best with his feet, I'll tell you that. He panics. But I watch a lot of La Liga and I watch a lot of Valencia, and that kid is a very good keeper. So I would actually be very excited. It just breaks my heart because if he comes in, it means one of two things, and I don't want to think about either. One, a big money offer is coming in for Alisson that the club knows about from Saudi, and I hate that. Or two, this is Ali's last season and he's off in the summer. That's the more likely one. But a lot of Saudi reports are talking about there's a big purge that's going to happen to Liverpool in the next couple of weeks.
I mean, listen, again, the Alisson thing is interesting. Of course, we all know he's the best goalkeeper in the world. It's fucking worries, man, that Liverpool are going to sign a £25 million backup when you've got one. It's fucking worrying. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, for the Ali, it's more Ali in my opinion, because why would you just keep Kelleher? He's your homegrown. It helps you out loads. You know what you're getting with him, and you know what I mean? There's not much level difference in a second-choice goalie, what they can offer you for your squad. It's not like, oh, that second-choice goalie is going to get me 7 more points this year. There's fucking second-choice goalkeeper who's asked. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is worrying if that's true, and you know, we'll see.
Does that mean we don't see Kelleher as a long-term replacement for Alisson for one reason or another?
Yeah. Well, the question is, does Kelleher see himself as a long-term player for Liverpool? I think his mind is set on going, and maybe he's not aware of what's happening at the club, but I think his mind is set on going. He's talked more than once about how his future is elsewhere because he wants to play, and it's, I don't know. Does he see himself as a long-term Liverpool player? That's really the question, because I'm sure he doesn't just want to be like, hey, fuck you guys, I'm out. But I don't think he got any indicators that the club is going to rely on him as a long-term player.
That's what I'm saying. I would think if the club was interested, they'd be like, dude, we know you're good enough to be a starter. Hang in there. eventually when Ali moves on, this job is yours. You will be the starting goalie for Liverpool. But if we're not communicating that, there's probably a reason for that, Kazi. Like we don't think that's to say
I'm at a point where I would prefer Mamardashvili just because I've seen enough of him, and a lot of people will argue that he was the best goalie at the Euro, and he stood out, made a name for himself, very young. So big guy too. So I mean, he's a tall play. He's like a Donnarumma. But
yes, that's what he reminded me of.
He's not as good with his feet. He panics a lot. If you watch Valencia and he gets the ball in the back and they come at him, he goes bananas. And
I'll be amazed if Liverpool sign a £25 million second choice keeper. I'll be absolutely flabbergasted if that's what they do. Because that to me just seems...
Unless Alisson is happening this summer. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, right?
Alisson's 31 and keepers can play till they're fucking 38.
Yeah.
So it's like, the Alisson one doesn't understand. I've seen no drop-off in Alisson for Liverpool to make that call.
Very random question.
Go on.
Have we seen Alisson in any training photos? Because
he just got back.
Come back today.
Oh, he did? Okay. Oh, my God. Because everybody's back. I was like, shit.
Came back today.
Okay.
He was one of the last in. And again, we'll see what happens. And again, he fucking knows his fucking position's good, doesn't he? He doesn't need to come back early.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like,
he knows he's starting next week. You know what I mean?
I'll be there next week.
I'll see you at fucking Ipswich. I'm surprised he didn't just go to
speaking
Ipswich.
Of that,
you know what I mean?
So we're gonna do a live watch along, obviously, in the 24-hour podcast. That's how we're gonna end up with the Sevilla game. And then there's one, behind closed doors. There's another game while the doors are closing and stuff like that. So what do we expect to see? Like, do we expect to see a regular old school lineup going against Sevilla? Like, Kazi, is it the starting lineup? When we look at the Sevilla lineup starting, are we going to see pretty much the Ipswich starting lineup? Because this is the last preseason.
No, so they're playing 2 games, aren't they? The same day, Las Palmas and Seville. And I think you can argue with. You can probably do McAllister against Las Palmas, maybe. And I think because he hasn't played the game. And Las Palmas,
think it's more going to be like the guys that came late playing behind closed doors, and the team that played in the States is playing Sevilla.
Correct. I think you nailed it there. I think it's going to be more that. I still think he does Jones and Szoboszlai versus Ipswich. I do. I don't think he does Mach. I get your point from before. I just don't think he does it. I think he waits for Mach off the bench. I think Jones and Szoboszlai haven't really let him down in midfield in the pre-season, and they understand what he wants out of them earlier than the other guy do.
Yeah.
So I just actually think he does that. But I definitely think McAllister starts against Brentford. So I think there's again with the season happening the way it is and everyone coming back a bit staggered, I don't think we can read too much into it. The one I will agree with you on is the centre halves. I think you get your 2 starting centre halves against Sevilla and go, they're the centre halves that I want. If it's Van Dijk and Kwanzaa, Van Dijk plays against Sevilla. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And go, that's the one that you want. I think the alley one's interesting. Of course, Kelleher's got to play.
Do you see Trent? Or does Las Palmas see Trent? The Doors see Trent, but we don't.
Maybe. I think the difference between Trent and Gomez compared to McAllister is that McAllister played every minute and they had barely played a football in anger. Where I think McAllister needs more of a break. The Darwin one's more interesting, I think, as well. Because I don't want him, and again, everyone knows we talked about the kid, but I don't want him to be thrown into the Sharks and starting. I don't want him to start any of the first 5 games. I genuinely don't start him. Just let the lad learn the fucking new role that he's got and the new feature that the van needs him to do. Do you know what I mean? Don't throw him to the Sharks. Don't let him make mistakes and ease him in. You have 5 options right now. Like, you can ease the lad in. And by the way, Mo Salah's had a full pre-season for the first time in a long time, in my opinion. So, no, I don't read too much into it, Tim. I do think you probably get like 6 or 7 against Sevilla of the starters and then like maybe a mixture of both.
What do you have? By the way, Gally says the Ederson rumors are dying. I think they signed somebody else. You're our Saudi League representative over here, Anan. Since you get the insider scoops and you can read what they're saying and actually, be able to understand the language.
Yeah, literally, no inside scoop. Just can read the fucking language. So yeah, basically, no inside scoops at all.
Insider by knowing Arabic, I guess. But I think they signed somebody else, right? When Ederson didn't go happen, they signed somebody else. Do any of the other teams shopping for a goalie still?
Essentially, all the top teams are looking for a keeper.
That's nice.
It's the funniest thing ever. But the Saudi League moves aren't gonna be just because they need players. It's because they officially put in their bid for the World Cup in a few years, and they're blustering their bid by the players that play in their league. So Ronaldo's gonna be a representative. There's like so many of the current players that are just gonna be spokesperson on that behalf, and they want to show that their league is prospering. So they're going to go and purge a couple of clubs in the next couple of weeks to just, even if they don't sign them, they want their name in the freaking headlines. Saudi League this, Saudi League that, Saudi League this. Last night, one of the biggest articles was from like one of the most trustworthy journalists in Saudi football. And he's talking about how there's a club that he won't post about yet is preparing 105 million bid for Liverpool to sign Mo Salah before the transfer window closes. He's talking about that bid is ready to go. The money's ready. The Saudi fund approved the money, and it's just a matter of when they're going to send the bid in. Is it true? Is it not? I don't know. But
105.
Yeah, 105. But he seems very adamant that 105 bid is going to go out, and it just depends on Liverpool to accept it or not.
Kazi, 105 bid. I'm faxing it over right now. Do they even fax shit still, aside from Real Madrid?
Only Real Madrid.
Yeah. I'll accept 105 million with a year to go for Pedro Neto for 50. But we don't get that, do we? So Liverpool still need the right side.
I would take the 105. Go get Gordon for 80 or whatever. Throw Diaz on the right hand side. Put Gordon on the left.
I want to see Luis Diaz on the right.
He won't know how to cut in.
You're gonna have to see him somewhere, I think, because the Olmo deal is done for Barcelona.
Almost done.
Well, fucking let him sit on the bench then and earn his way back. Like every other fucking football player has to, because you don't get a fucking guaranteed starting place at Liverpool. I would take 105 million and go and sign Cole Palmer for 80 and go and chance their arm. We all know what you're doing, Chelsea. You're trying to sign players cheap and sell them expensive to get some cash in. Well, you signed them for 45 million last summer. We'll take them for 80 now and let him sit on the right hand side for 10 years. But I don't think that's going to happen either. But again, 105, you're probably at the door, aren't you? If he's not going to sign a new deal, that's probably.
Honestly, Ryan says 105 isn't enough. I'll take 105 because I feel like
I'm torn.
I mean, that's a good money to be able to get a winger. Like you can go get Gordon.
Who?
And dude, you need someone. Okay, even in preseason, while I love how Mo can create, the way we're playing, the way we build now, like you can kind of see when that press is coming, the lanes are created so you can get directly to the wingers, right? So that's why when I was watching it, all those balls that went to Carvalho, I'm like, if this goes to Diaz and Diaz is going at the right back full speed, I would not want to be the right back because he can get past them. That ball went to Mo several times, and Mo does not have the speed. He's not the old Mo where he just takes a guy on and beats him easily and keeps going. And I think if you're not going to be able to re-sign him, 105 to me is a no-brainer, to be honest with you.
Yeah, funny. So when you go like on Saudi-sided Twitter, all the pictures are just Salah wearing, this is Al Ittihad jersey where Fabinho plays. And then another one has him with a Hilal jersey. They're like, oh, he's coming to us. No, he's coming to us. Like, guys, fuck off, yeah?
A major Photoshop. Yeah. So basically, it's that group that's preparing the bid that owns 4 teams or whatever?
Yes. So it's the Saudi investment fund that owns the teams. The team says, here's our proposal. That's why we want to sign him. This is how much money he's going to bring in. And then they look into it and they say yes or no. The Saudi investment fund is definitely going to say yes because he's Arabic, he's Muslim, he's the biggest name in football when it comes to the biggest Arabic name to ever come out. Now imagine that being the face of your World Cup bid with Cristiano Ronaldo, with Neymar. They'll take it. They're dying for him. Yeah. But I don't think I would take 105. I initially, I hope this doesn't happen. I don't want no bid to come in because if FSG see 105, they're gonna be like,
It's an argument, and I agree with you there. I would sell him for the right player coming in, but the issue that Liverpool got right now, and this is by the way, this is on Cody Gakpo, this is on Darwin Núñez, isn't it? This is on Diaz. We haven't got a player who can get 25 goals. We haven't, because they haven't proved that they can get 25. But Mo Salah can get me 25, and that's the difference.
They haven't played as much as, I mean, especially like Gakpo and stuff like that.
I mean, okay, Gakpo, all right, Darwin has definitely.
Darwin has, yes.
You know what I mean? He's played a lot of football now. And again, that's on Diaz, by the way. And that's on Cody Gakpo. And that's on them to go into training, smash training, and then get you. Like, this is what I don't understand.
I don't know, because that area is reserved at all times. It has been. Like, so, like, basically, you named a bunch of players. So there's 4 players vying for 2 spots.
but
not
one of
five players vying for 3 spots.
But not one of them play on the right-hand side.
But see, the thing is, nobody's going to try to take the spot from Mo because he's the one scoring all the goals.
Yeah, exactly.
So they got no reason. He
And by the way,
guaranteed the spot.
They can't play on the right-hand side. None of them can play on the right-hand side. Let's
Well, that's on the club, though, right? It's not to get another right winger and keep buying guys who can play left.
But that's the conversation that we're having right now this morning, based on the news this morning, is that if you know he's got a year left on his deal and Pedro Neto's going for 50 million, like what? Like, am I fucking deluded here? I don't know, guys. And I only watch a lot of La Liga and stuff. I don't see an influx of right wingers in world football being unbelievable. There's not many. Pedro Neto is, Cole Palmer is, and stuff like that. But there's not like, oh my God, don't worry about it. There's fucking 25 of these lads. There's not many. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is with the club, by the way, and I'll back the club all the way on this one. The lad hasn't shown you that you should go and get a replacement or a backup. Because the lad's never injured apart from last season for the first time in 6 years. Yeah. And he gets you 25, 30 every year. So why was you to sign someone?
Fair, but then would you get more out of him if you could keep him a bit of pressure? But the dude never wants to come out either, I guess. So there's that.
33.
Even his injury was when he was in the African Cup of Nations because of the lack of treatment in the Egyptian national team, straight up. And he got in a fight with the coaches, and we know the whole story. But this isn't this is a once in a lifetime guy. This isn't a guy that you can replace. And so if Liverpool were serious about this, they would have replaced him 2 years ago with somebody that would have been ready for 2 years from now. A few years ago, there was a wingers market. You could find a winger anywhere you want. Right now, it's not. That whole position of a natural winger is already going away. And you have the best one in the world. You just don't let him go. 105 or not. I'd give him a year.
Yeah.
And after a year, he can fuck off for 100 or 80 or 70, even 50. I don't care. But you don't let him go for 105 now. Usually, as soon as I see
good money, man.
When I see 85 plus for anyone, I'm like, go ahead. Go right ahead.
I'm with it a little bit because you need a replacement. I still want to win the fucking Premier League. And we need a replacement. If you say to me now we're doing Cole Palmer for 80, then I'll sell him.
Yeah, but what? I mean, you guys are assuming like Mo is like, yeah, I'll sign a deal for a year. Maybe Mo is like, no, I need a contract.
Sorry, I'll say I'll sell him in the next 2-3 weeks. If you give me a Cole Palmer or a Neto, but I'm not signing for some bum for 15 million that we've got a fucking.
Kubo. I give you Kubo.
Yeah, the slowest kid I've ever seen in my life, the slowest right winger ever. Yeah, you get 7 goals.
He doesn't have a lot of pace, does he? I think in this system, we definitely need somebody Diaz-like or Gakpo-like.
And remember,
take a player on.
We have is Ben Doak.
You need a left footer. Ben
Doak is on the way out.
Yes,
and Ben Doak's on the way. There we go. So we have no options.
That's what I'm saying. But the thing is,
Gordon or Neto, Kazi?
Gordon for the left, Neto for the right. They don't play the same side.
You had to pick one, obviously. That was the premise of the question, man.
Well, right now, we'll probably be Anthony Gordon because Mo Salah's still there. But if Mo Salah left today, I'd take the
Mo Salah is gone. I just gave you have like money. If you had an option between Neto and Gordon, do you like Neto better? Because I like, again, like we were talking earlier, I just worry about this Neto thing about when he's healthy. Yeah, whereas you're not going to say that about Gordon.
But listen, fella, for the fucking sheer needle of where I'm from, I would take Anthony Gordon. I would sell the whole squad and just play Anthony Gordon on his own against us.
You're not an objective.
Forget about the needle I have in my life. But in terms, I do think Pedro Neto, when he's fit, is the best player outside the top 6. But I would still take Anthony Gordon right now. And again, maybe that's just because of age. He's 23. I think Neto's 25.
And that's still doable, people. Take the 105. Go get Gordon.
But you need a right-hand side of football player. Gordon doesn't play right-hand side.
That's where Diaz goes. He's not right-sided either, but Diaz goes all over the place.
You need a left footer on the right-hand side. Can someone help me out there?
I know. That's when you build a squad with 5 left footers. I don't know what to tell you.
Fucking help me out here.
Yeah. So I think Tim's just being an ass. He knows exactly what he's doing. No, the only name, and I wanted to make sure that he's still available, is the Italian kid Chiesa. That's the only thing I can think of. Federico Chiesa. That's the only person I can think of that is available for sale. Is not going to be 100 million and could potentially fit. But he's not going to be your goal-scoring winger, though. Just keep that in mind. He's going to be your traditional winger that takes the ball on the right side, holds the ball, and then plays you a beautiful ball, somebody to score, or cuts in and creates a chance.
Or Nunes to be offside. I mean, he has the same thing, though, right? Injury history-wise? Because I know Juventus...
One big injury. Just one big injury.
Okay.
One.
Why don't Juventus want him? I think about this all the time. Why have they just said, we don't want you anymore? We don't really want you a part of this plan. Why?
Well, yeah, that's why I pulled up an article to make sure. Is there something out yet that I'm not aware of that I'm going to say now and it'll be like, oh, did you not hear? I don't know, but he's young, he's talented, but that one injury really derailed his career. But I think he could come in and do something. I don't know. Kid's never played out of Italy for a minute. He's only played there his whole life. So it could be a big challenge for him. But that's the only name that I've been looking at for the past few years. We're like, man, if we could sign this kid. And now he's there. He's available. He's ready to go. But do we make the move or do we not?
Yeah, guys, 3 years ago, I would have agreed, but he looks like he never recovered from the injury. But I think this is where you get a guy like, people could have said that about Van Dijk, for example, when you first came. Sometimes it takes like an extra season to get back closer to where you were. And I feel like that's where this dude is going to be. I realize he's a winger and different than being a defender, but
the other part of this, which no one talks about with the Italian players, and I'm genuine here. How many Italian players come to the Premier League and really good?
I know, they're really trying hard to change that trend, though, aren't they?
Like, I mean,
we tried with Aquilani, didn't we?
Aquilani. But I'm talking about anyone. I'm talking about anyone. Like, literally anyone. Who is the best Italian player to play in the Premier League? Zola.
Zola, probably.
He was more of a maniac than an Italian, yeah.
Exactly. But I mean,
is there a difference?
I think, you know what I mean? I just don't think that the level and the speed of the game is just so like, and I've seen, by the way, Liverpool players from the past, when we were in the Champions League playing against Italian sides, we were like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, this is so slow and they're so passive and they're not really, do you know what I mean? Like, they felt it was easy to play against them. I don't know, man. There's an argument here right now. I think Kingsley Coleman's rumored to be available on loan. You know what I mean? You just do Coleman for the year at 28. I don't know. But again, I think the most salary replacements has to be left-footed.
Jadon Sancho, fuck it.
He's also not left-footed.
He's right-footed. Yeah, Sancho's right-footed.
Help me, Anand.
Yeah, Sancho's right-footed.
I need one cutting in. That's why it's so dangerous to play against. You need one cutting in. That's why it's so difficult. That's why it's hard with the 105 million. Find me a left foot. If you go and tell me Cole Palmer or Neto, then I'll have a chat with you about Mo Salah.
I know. If you're not going to be able to sign him to an extension, 105 is a no-brainer.
I agree with that, but again,
regardless,
having no replacement is a bigger no-brainer.
I think regardless, you have to sell him because that's an isolated decision. You can't be like, "Well, that's something you have to think about afterwards."
But it's the club's lack of
the other thing. You're like, "Oh, we'll keep him, even though we can't sign him to an extension, and next year you get zero." How is that a better deal? Even if
you win the league, potentially the Champions League, maybe the FA Cup plus the Carabao Cup. I don't know, but you could win and make money. Versus let him go and look like a laughingstock with not a single player to give you 20 plus. I'm not even going to say 25 because none of the fuckers gave us 20 plus.
Winning, that would be a different story, but there's no freaking guarantee. 105 is a freaking guarantee.
Three things are guaranteed.
Somebody this offseason, you might have somebody next offseason with that 105 to replace him.
Okay.
3 things are guaranteed: death, taxes, me showing up late, and Mo Salah scoring more than 25 goals a season.
Yeah. And Tim, scoring goals pays the bills, unfortunately.
I understand that, but not $105 million worth of bills.
And I get that, fella, but it's not my money.
I mean, it's not your money, but the decision you have to make is based on what the club would view as.
Of course, but the memories that the goals will provide me for this season could be a lot better than the fucking money in someone else's bank
for
account.
You.
Of course, but I understand the club's argument.
Yeah, but if it was up to you and me, we would just go around and fucking throw money everywhere.
But the club then has to live with the consequences of Liverpool finish 6th. You've got to live with the consequences then of the fans and go, you fucked up and you've ruined it. Do you know what I mean? This Rodrigo's not coming to Liverpool. Why would you leave?
He's already made it clear he ain't going nowhere, even if the money was a lot.
People go, was this down Tchouaméni? Is Tchouaméni like it's that easy?
He's like, I don't want it. Like, it's just like, no, you do. Like, it's like,
lads win the Champions League every year, and you think we're just going to go and get one of their starters?
Oh, and now he's got Mbappe with him. Yeah, he's totally going to want to leave.
Oh yeah, he can't wait. He can't wait to get out the door playing with Mbappe and
Get me out of this hellhole.
What a horrible life I live.
I want to go play with Darwin Núñez, okay?
Maybe he'll get sick of winning. He's like, I'm so sick of winning.
That's what I pray for. I pray those Real Madrid players get so sick of winning and say, I want to see how Liverpool feels, and just let me go fucking get fucked a couple of times and lose a couple of games. They don't.
I think, I know what Ryan is saying when his playing time goes down, but that won't be this offseason.
Still young. Even if his playing time goes down, he's still young.
Again,
Kid is.
Yeah, but so are the people who are taking the playing time from him. You know what I mean?
Nobody, so far, nobody's going to take any playing time from him. There's no way anybody's touching his playing time. Vinny, Rodrigo, Mbappe,
yeah.
Jude. Nobody's taking anything from. There's maybe to give him a rest when they win 12 more Champions League, but that's it.
They've went from Hosselu to Mbappe. I've never seen a bigger upgrade in the history of football. They had Hosselu and won the Champions League, and then signed Mbappe. I don't get it.
That's a little depressing right there. Okay, let's wrap things up over here. This weekend, are you watching for anything special at the Sevilla game that you have not before?
I want to see fucking Zubimendi walk out in half time. The fucking thing I want to see.
He's here for his medical, watching the game from the stands. That would be a nice story.
And signs for Sevilla after the game. We got you.
How about you, Anan? Are you watching for anything special?
So the fun fact is, growing up, outside of being a Liverpool fan, come from a household full of Sevilla fans because of the Andalusia influence in my family.
Oh, I was going to say, why the hell? Okay.
So I'm excited to see Iheanacho play for Sevilla for his first time. I'll tell you that. That fucker that didn't want to score so we don't win the league. But no, overall, I want to see what team goes out, because I'd say at least 6 of those guys will be starting in our first Premier League match. And then the other guys might be playing in the Las Palmas game to get some match fitness. The decision will happen after that to say maybe they're ready, maybe they're not. So overall, I'm just looking to see what lineup he puts out and what the squad looks like. But it's not like it won't be a season determining game, nor will it be anything that'll be, ooh, this stands out. It's more exciting for Sevilla than anything, because I think now the Sevilla squad is ready to go and they just want to play one more game. But for us, let's just go out there, have some fun, get a win, and then keep everybody fit.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the biggest thing, I think, too, right? Just stay fit. And I do want to see, I think Kazi, that's what we're going to see. I think we do see our starting back 4. Do you think Virgil starts? I don't know. I don't think he gets a lot of minutes.
Yeah, I think he might do an hour. I think he does an hour and then go up and then get him ready for Ipswich. I can see that. I don't want him to start not kick a footy fella and then just play against Ipswich away.
Especially we build from the back and stuff. Like, I don't want him making like an errant pass because he's been out of action for so long, and it's just like, the movements and stuff like that. So I do want him out there. But I guess, is there a difference between open doors, closed doors? I mean, the other one is a game too. Does it really matter that we see him?
For a player like Virgil, the only difference that'll happen is who's playing next to him. Do you put him, do you start him against Sevilla with his partner? That might be Kwanzaa or that might be Konate, or do you just play him in fucking Las Palmas with Nat Phillips? That's the difference. What gets you really mentally ready to go. So true. I hope he does start with a decent partnership where, okay, this might be your partner for the season. Get it going.
I can see a back 5 starting. I can see the back 5 and the 2 centre mids, but I think the rest is all up for grabs. I think Mo Salah's had a lot of footy in the pre-season. I can see him getting a day off. He might do Las Palmas, but I think with it being at Anfield and stuff, you want to see Mo Salah and the paying your tickets and stuff like that. I get that argument as well. Carvalho's interesting. Because he's actually played quite well in the pre-season. And if he starts on the left-hand side again, Liverpool might look and go, I think if Carvalho starts on the left-hand side in Seville, I don't think he's going anywhere. Like, I really don't, unless it's going to be a massive amount of money to get him out. Do you know what I mean? I know Barcelona, I think the Nico Williams deal is off, isn't it? With Barcelona?
It's done. Not going to happen.
So they might look at Luis Diaz. You know what I mean? There's a lot of moving parts here, Tim. And again, going back to what we said at the start of the show when Anand was clashing some Z's, that's why with the outgoings, you were expecting to see more outgoings to give us an idea of what Liverpool are going to do. Right now, we're still fucking completely blind. We have no idea. Yeah,
I mean, aside from like a couple of like obvious loans of like very minor loans, not much has happened. And so I thought
I just worry that
more answers going into this 24-hour thing tomorrow. Give us a lot to talk about, but it's going to be more speculation. Sounds like
the worrying thing is the 2 outgoings that could happen could be 2 of our biggest names, and that fucking makes me panic. Because we're looking at Marmadashvi, the keeper. What's happening with Alisson?
Do you reckon it could be a loan as well for him to go?
Yeah, the Saudis are talking about pushing for Mo. What's going to happen? We could have one outgoing, but that outgoing could be one that we're like, fuck. this is
like I say, I took the 105 and ran with it, but it should be interesting. I mean, and then there's another thing. I mean, they did this last year too. They might be just like testing the waters, but obviously the fact that he's going to be out of contract makes things interesting. But you both gentlemen will be joining us sometime during the 24-hour mess.
Well,
That's gonna
yes.
start at noon tomorrow. Still need sponsors, so please get out there. If you want to donate $100 yourself, you can be a sponsor as well. Otherwise, your sporter club, business, anybody really. We just want to raise as much funds as possible. Jamie has been great in helping us kind of like push the message out there. You even shared the reel and everything like that yesterday. So just want to make sure like we get as much as possible for them. But do tune in then. Noon Central tomorrow is when the craziness starts, and then it ends 24 hours after that. So we'll see you guys then. Take care.
Good night.